is radical equations. You in front of you, or you at home, have a worksheet now which has square roots and their equations. So one thing equals another. A note of note. The first thing, important, get the square root as alone as possible before beginning. Try to get the square root as alone as possible before beginning. All right, for those of you taking notes, this first equation is similar to problem number 1. It is similar to problem number 1, and it is all right. It's an equation. We have done all sorts of equations in our mathematical career. 2x plus 5 equals 8. We've done a bunch of those. We've done x squared plus 3x plus 2 equals 0. We've not done a lot of equations where we have a square root. First step, and this is key, get the square root as alone as possible. So taking away a 4 from both sides is an awesomely awesome idea. Now, you have learned in your mathematical journey that you can add the same thing to both sides. Woohoo! You can take away the same thing from both sides. You can log both sides. You've learned so much. Well, you can do something opposite of a square root. In fact, the opposite of a square root uses one of the same words. The opposite of square root is a square. So if you would please throw a square on both of them. Remember the laws of algebra say, if you do something to one side, you better darn well do it to the other side. Well, a square root and a square counteract each other. I'm going to talk to the advanced kids. If you don't think you're an advanced kid, you can not listen for 15 seconds. Advanced kids, the square root of x to this right here, this is for advanced kids, that is exactly the same as x 7 to the 1/2 power. Advanced kids, is that right? Yep. Now look, when I square both sides, I take exponent times exponent, and does that become an exponent of 1? All right. If that made sense to you, cool. If you didn't even listen, that's cool. Here we go. Back to everybody. A square root and a square counteract each other, and they simply become, I'll go right up here, that becomes x over 7 with no square root hat on it. 10 times 10 is 100. And then we'll multiply both sides by 7, which we're now very good at this point, and x is worth 700. Probably. What? Probably. I'm going back to my original. 700, bless you, 700 divided by 7 is 100. Square root of 100 is 10. 10 plus 4 is 14. One like number 4. Step 1 is to please get the square root sign as alone as possible. It is as alone as possible. So we go ahead and we square both sides. This side becomes easy. The square root and the square sort of counteract each other. Everybody gets squared, so 3 squared becomes 9. 5 squared becomes 25. Okay, I'm going to show you a shortcut. 4 times x, you divide by 4, but this is a shortcut. Dividing by 4 is exactly the same as multiplying by 1/4. And if I do that on both sides, it makes your problem really easy. Dividing by 4 is the same as multiplying by 1/4. 1/4, you got 1/4 is a quarter. You got 4 quarters. You're good. No flipping, no nothing. There's sometimes ones that look like they might be tough that aren't. And those are fun ones. Fun ones are ones that, ooh, this is going to be tough, and then it's not. So this is like number 7. It's got 2 square roots. It looks like it might be trouble. That we can't get them in, they're just one's alone here, one's alone here. So what have we learned to do in the last few minutes? Learn to square both sides. The square root and the square counteract each other. I told the advanced kids why a few seconds ago, if you considered yourself an advanced kid. The rest of you, they just take care of each other. And look at this. Oh, just like that, it became a problem that you most likely solved in Mrs. Castleberry's Algebra 1 class. Your last 6 problems today. By the way, I don't think we're doing any of the word problems. I'll give you the answers to the word problems, like 5, 10, and 15. All right, so here is a problem like number 8. And the big T. Okay. Gotta make sure I write this right. All right, the square root is as alone as possible. The square root is as alone as possible. So we're going to square both sides. The square root and the square root and the square counteract each other. Whether you like math or you don't like math, there are probably some of you in here and some are apathetic, you don't care. You must admit that it builds upon itself, because all of a sudden today's homework is going to come into factoring in the big T. When we have x squared, we like it to say equals 0. That makes it so much better. So we take away 9 and we have x squared plus 8x minus 9 equals 0. like it or not, you've got to multiply to be -9. You have to add to be 8. We have done this so much, I hope you are good at this. I believe 9 and -1 are the ones that multiply to -9 and add to 8. You will remember when there is a coefficient of 1 in front, that's easy. You get to jump to the answer using these two. When there's a 1 here, you jump to x plus 9, x minus 1 equals 0. It is the easy factoring. And then we make the big T.
Wouldn't it be x equals -1?
We write x plus 9 equals 0, take away 9, and x minus 1 equals 0. And now we got a big problem. And the big problem is often one of these answers won't work. So what I have to do now is do the following. I'm going to try -9 squared plus 8 times -9. And I'm going, does it equal 3? -9 squared, remember if you're doing your calculator, it has to be in parentheses. 81 minus 72 equals 3. The square root of 9 equals 3. Guess what? -9 works. We have to try 1. 1 squared plus 8 times 1, does it equal 3? 1 plus 8, 9, square root of 9, does it equal 3? It does. Both answers worked. Sometimes they won't work. And real quickly. Actual problem number 12. I have to finish this in a minute 45 for this same recording. Square both sides. You must. You don't have a choice. You must write this as x plus 2, x plus 2. This one's easy. You must FOIL first. Outside, inside, last. You must do that foiling. Then you will combine like terms and solve it like we have. For the people at home,